Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Sports Betting Bros. Dave and Pete with you. And Pete, as we build up this channel, remember to people, please hit like and subscribe to be notified about future videos. Pete, as we build up this channel, we're starting to get a lot of fun with the people that are reaching out to us.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of engagement. People asking questions, which is great. Always want questions. We get some love and we get some hate, and we love it all the same. The people that don't agree with us, we'll go back and forth with them and have a good time. And the people that just want information, we'll give as much information as we can, and help out as much as we can along the way.
Hey, I don't know about you. I like the love better. But
I think I
speaking
might
of
like
which,
I think I might like the haters better. I don't know.
you like that? Oh, well, that's great. Okay, that's right. That kind of makes a nice contrast. Well, send the love to me,
Yeah.
and then send your debates to Pete. How about we do that? So my shout out of love this week is to @SmoothMove. Thank you for your comments last week. Yes, we are happy to give out our picks for free because our feeling has always been anybody who is that great at it, where they can lead you to guaranteed perfection, is not going to be sharing it. They're going to be betting it. And we are a sports wagering and sports community where people share their stories, share their systems, and share their up and downs. So toward that end, Pete, I had one from a guy who comes in, and I call him Mr. 5 and 10. This guy, every week, he puts $5 on a 10-team parlay. So he starts it every week, and he started in September. Nothing until 3 weeks ago. And then he's hit twice in the last 3 weeks. So Mr. 5 and Dime is now up $5,000. He's very consistent with his strategy. And last week he hit it across 4 sports. And there were spreads.
Wow.
There were unders for running backs. There was college football and pro football. So a lot of people do a lot of studying. And what I thought was great about his approach is that, okay, you have about as much risk as you would with a lottery ticket with the upside. So if you lose $5 every week, what is that? So everybody's got a new way to go about what works for them. And the key is finding your soft spot that's an edge for you. And we'll talk about the week upcoming in our next segment. All right, we start to look at some trends and some recent hot streaks. And don't forget, we've got some big NFL games on the ticket, starting with the Thursday night Rams and 49ers game. But Pete, while this is going on, we have to celebrate a little bit because we've been rolling a little bit here the last few weeks.
Yeah, and we mentioned six total picks last week. 4 of those picks were on a couple on Pete's picks and a couple you had, and we went 6-0 last week. It was the Jaguars plus 4.5, Steelers -7, Packers plus 3.5. We had the Packers Lions over 51, McManus kicker over 6.5, and Jake Bates kicker over 7. So we hit all 6 of them. And since we've been doing the show, since we've been starting the show, we're 17-3 on our main picks, on our free picks. So it doesn't get much hotter than that. Yeah, we're doing really well. Hopefully, people are telling us as much as possible when we win, and we're just trying to keep the win train going as much as we can.
Well, and there have been a lot of a lot of half-point differentials there that have figured in. I thought your pick of Jacksonville last week against Tennessee was a great one because the people have been down in the Jags, and with Trevor Lawrence out, people have been writing them off, but they covered again. This time they won as they made a good, bold goal line stand against Tennessee and ended up winning that game. Tennessee had to kick the field goal. The end of the game is different too. So before we get to this week's picks, a theme that I rediscovered last week is that bad things happen to bad teams. And we'll keep in mind that with the Dallas Cowboys. Our hearts go out to anybody who had them at plus 5.5 against the Bengals on Monday night and then had them on the money line because of this. The game is tied, couple minutes to go. The defense for Dallas has a couple consecutive sacks. It is 4th and 26. Cincinnati has to punt. It's blocked. You're a Cowboys better thinking, beautiful. We'll get the ball in plus territory. We've got Brandon Aubrey, the biggest leg in the league. We're going to win and hit the money line.
Yeah.
But a Dallas player touches the ball, Cincinnati gets it back, and you could tell the deflated Cowboys didn't do a thing after that. And Jamar Chase scores a late touchdown, and you lose the money line and you lose the spread at plus 5.5. It's a tough game, Pete.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for the bettors that were affected, but I don't feel bad for the Cowboys. I love seeing them lose and go down in flames anytime I can. But yeah, I mean,
in the Philadelphia area, people say, I never should have bet on the Cowboys. I don't like them, and this is why.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you lose like that, it is ridiculous. And the Cowboys keep seeming to lose like that, and you can tell, man, they've just given up. It's just dumb mistakes on that team. Bad play, bad coaching, bad GM management. Michael Parsons walked off the field before the game was even over. I mean, that just tells you all you need to know. He's one of the main, probably the best player on that team, one of the main leaders, and he's had enough. So,
well, I was a little surprised how exhausted he looked. You're supposed to be in shape. You're the superstar of that team, and he's on the sidelines looking gassed at a time that you really shouldn't be looking gassed. At this point of the season. You can question the character of that team. And the New York Giants continue to lose, and this time, really heartbreaking fashion, as a kick to tie the game at the end of the game was blocked. The Giants remain the only team in the NFL without a home victory this entire season, and we're closing in on Christmas. Okay, in segment 3, let's get to Pete's picks. He's blazing hot. Does he continue? Let's see who Pete likes. All right, so wherever you are, start that drum roll. Pete is hot. Pete, your Pete's picks. Let's focus on the first one. Jacksonville Jags and New York Jets. And this is showing some flexibility for you because the Jags were a hot pick last week for you. And this time you're going against them with the Jets. Go into that.
Yeah, I think the Jets are bad. I think they're better than the Titans. And as hard as it may be, Mac Jones actually looked worse than Trevor Lawrence last week. And it's been an ugly season for both teams. So we can't really say much good about either one. But I think that on the Jets side, especially like they're 0-7 in games decided by 6 points or fewer. So it's a lot of unlucky stuff that happened to them. And it's just bad luck for the Jets, even though they are a bad team. But I think they are still better than the Jags because of some bad luck stuff that's happened this season. And they should pick up the win and cover in this one. So I like the Jets here at -3.5 against the Jags. I think, like I said, the Titans are, in my opinion, the worst team in the league. And I think the Jets are up there, but I still think they're better than the Jags. I think 3.5 points. I think they cover.
And they were life and death with the Miami Dolphins last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron Rodgers had his first 300-yard game and who knows how long. And they did look very good.
Yeah.
They also covered at home against the Texans, who are a very good team. So the Jets do show up at home, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that angle. And you like a dog too with the Raiders getting 4.5 points against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons, what is it with that team? Just a wheel spin off? How are you seeing that?
I'm just looking at this game like battle between two franchises that are kind of in free fall mode right now. Both teams are struggling, but the Raiders look to be the better of the two bad teams. Vegas has almost pulled off road upsets against the Chiefs on Black Friday, and they're a team that shows that they will fight to the bitter end. Against the Bucs, they were able to hang around until the fourth quarter before Tampa pulled away. And despite their problems, the Raiders rank in the top half in passing yards per attempt allowed, returning to Allegiant Stadium. So that should set a really good atmosphere up for them. They do have a crazy atmosphere no matter how bad they are there. It's a popular place to watch a game. So I think they are the better of the two bads. And for Atlanta, they've lost their last two road games by a combined 80-27, which is like that's unheard of in the NFL. I mean, that's a college. Those are college scores right there. And things look pretty bad for the offense with Kirk Cousins failing to deliver passing touchdowns in four straight games. So I look at that as, yeah, the Falcons, the Raiders at plus 4.5. I think they're better of the two worst teams. It's in Vegas, and I think I'll take plus 4.5 for them.
Okay, and here's another one, and this is interesting because we talk about the shootout possibility regarding the Lions, and you're on an angle here about the Lions and the Bills, which is, by the way, the game of the week, one of the games of the year, and you think that some defense will show up in this game.
I do, yeah, and the Bills are coming off an 80-point shootout with the Rams, so I think people will rush to the window and bet the over. That's just how it is. Both teams can score in bunches. However, the early sharp movement is buying the under. And like I said, I like to fade the public. I like to look at what the sharps are doing because percentage-wise, they're winning more than the public. And this game feels like a playoff game. I would expect more ball control and fewer big plays, fewer fireworks than we've seen from those offenses in the last few weeks. The Lions boast one of the top defenses in the league, while the Bills D is middle of the pack. So I think that'll keep the score a bit lower than people think. And there will be moments in this game will look a bit dicey as far if you're picked the under, because I think there will be explosive plays. But I'm trusting in the numbers and the early line movement here. So yeah, I like the under 54.5 here. Bills Detroit.
Well, it's a good idea if you're studying it, if you need to go against the public, because the public betting trend last week for the Bills and the Rams, the public and a lot of the sophisticated bettors too, all over the Bills. And everybody did not like that result, except for the minority, because the Rams surprised them and looked great moving. The only people who like that were the sports books, because you see that bonfire with all those parlays being burned with the Bills, including mine. That was the end of a six-teamer, and I said, oh my good, this is the one I think I'll get, and it did not. So who else do you like this week? So you like a touchdown score in the Miami game, and that guy's been on fire.
Yeah, Devin Chain, I like his anytime touchdown scorer. Although the Texans have a good run D, the red zone defense ranks 28 with a touchdown rate of 65.5. So I'm looking at him because he has 4 rushing touchdowns, but he also has 6 receiving touchdowns. So I think that gives him the edge there, because I think the Texans do have a good run D, like I said, but they give up touchdowns, and it gives Chain the edge because he can catch the ball too. And I think an anytime touchdown for him is a good bet.
2 sizzling hot teams, the Seattle Seahawks and Green Bay Packers. Now you're taking that number directly on that line. You're taking Green Bay -3. Now, are you going to be looking to move that for a price of, say, -120 down to 2.5 at some point and try to get that to avoid the hook? Or do you think that Green Bay covers that 3 comfortably enough?
Yeah, I do like the Packers at -3 here. It is plus 100 odds, so you could tease it down to 2.5. But I actually don't mind the -3 here because I don't think Seattle is as good as their record. The reason I say that is because the last few weeks, they took advantage of Arizona in a terrible spot in Week 12. The Cardinals gifted them 2 early turnovers and a 14-point lead, early 14-point lead. They should have lost against the Jets, but the Jets kind of lost that game on their own. They have played well defensively, and Geno Smith has been solid, and they're healthy. But I don't think there's one aspect of that team that just like comes at me like outstanding. That's a great part of their team. I just think they're a very average team with a really good record. The rushing attack is struggling, and meanwhile the Packers just went toe to toe with arguably the best team in the league, the Detroit Lions, and they nearly won. Green Bay has been through plenty of adversity this season. They won 2 games without their star quarterback. And if the postseason start today, they would be in the 6th seed. So I don't think record means anything in this game right here. I just think the -3, I think the Packers are a lot better of a team than Seattle, even if the records aren't showing it.
Well, our final segment, Pete, have a little bit of back and forth about the price is right. What is the price for you? I looked at a couple of props last week and people making predictions on something. It looked like a good bet and it came through, but the price was -140. So you have to bet $140 to win $100. Now, for me, that's too rich. My cutoff is in the neighborhood of -115, but everybody's is different. Somebody told me he'll go up to -170. What about you? What is your cutoff on a prop price? Where after that you think it's too much?
Depending on how confident I am in the prop, I would probably usually I stick between. I don't usually go over 130. 140 is usually probably like it for me. And props are not guaranteed. You never know if a player is going to show up. I mean, a player might just not be playing good that game, might not get as many looks. So yeah, it all comes down to the confidence of whether I think this player is going to exceed expectations or not. So, but I would say 130, 140 would be my cutoff, and then that you got to put up some good money to make a lot of money. So if it is something that I'm super confident about and it's 140, and I maybe I'll put 2 units up on it or 3 units up to kind of make up that return.
All right. So what fits for you? That's your question to determine. Hey, we'd like to thank everybody for reaching out to us. We really enjoy your comments as we build the channel. So remember to keep hitting like and subscribe to be notified about future videos. A lot to talk about in the future. So for my buddy Pete Amato, this is Dave Bontempo saying thanks for joining us on Sports Betting Bros.